David Giglio, right? Hey, I got it.
2 for 2.
2 for 2.
Very rare.
Oh,
So I definitely want to commend. Well, you got it. First, I want to say how quick the 10 minutes goes by when you're not running on the treadmill. Because when we run on the treadmill, it feels like 10 minutes goes by. A lot longer. My name's David Giglio. I've had the privilege of meeting a lot of you already, and I'm very grateful for that. I'll start with a little bit about myself. You know, I was a teacher. I now am a small business owner in Clovis. I'm a husband. I'm a dad. My son's 1.5 years old. I wanted him to come here today, but he's been sick all week. You know, he started daycare, so it's like every 2 weeks he's got a fever now, and then I get it. So, you know, I consider myself an ordinary guy, and I'm proud of that. You know, my wife and I mean, she's got a good job. She's a nurse practitioner, but we struggle to pay the bills. I mean, it's tough. Every week, it's like something else comes, especially in this state, with all the bills. So I'm an ordinary guy. If you had told me 3 years ago, this is my second time running for Congress, if you told me 3 years ago I'd be running second time for Congress, let alone the first time, I probably would have been crazy, because I am happy with my small business. But I believe our country is in a crisis right now. And I do believe that we need more ordinary guys running. You know, my resume in terms of public service and that kind of stuff isn't as long as other people's, but I think it's going to take extraordinary effort from ordinary people to save this country. People that are dealing with the struggles of what's going on. And one of the things that motivated me to run again, you know, I ran, it took a lot out of me and my family last time we ran. I put in a lot of money that I had saved up. I lost all that money. And it took a lot of my wife. It was daily grind. I was out there. I mean, Alfredo was with me. We knocked on thousands of doors ourselves. We were out there everywhere for 2 years. And it was a lot. But I went back to the fact that when I talked to people, one of the things I got when I knocked on those doors was how many people were just tired. They were feeling left behind. And it wasn't just a Democrat and Republican thing. They were telling me that it doesn't matter who I vote for. It doesn't matter the side. Nobody's helping me. Nobody's even. And I said, man, do I want to do this again? It just took so much. And I said, but I owe it to those people. I wasn't able to deliver the change by getting elected and being able to implement the policies that I wanted to. And I said, I owe it to those people to fight again. You know, I lost a lot. It took a lot out of my wife. It took a lot out of my whole family. But those people need somebody who went to their doors. Because a lot of them, I had people with tears, and I said, nobody ever comes to our town. Nobody talks to us. Thank you for being here. And I just said, God, those people need somebody out there. And, you know, what sets me apart is I am the only candidate that got in this race when Kevin McCarthy was still in it. And, you know, that caused me a lot of grief, believe it or not. Well, I'm sure you know that. But I did that because I want to show these people in Washington and even in the state and everywhere that we're not afraid to step up and battle the biggest dogs in the fight when people are feeling left behind. You don't have, you know, Kevin has $20 million in his war chest when I declared against him. And I said, it doesn't matter to me. We need to show people that there are some of us willing to go up there and stand up to what's happening to our country. I do call myself a MAGA Republican, America First Republican, and I'm proud of that. I'm somebody who would proudly join the Freedom Caucus when I get to D.C. because I believe MAGA Republicanism builds the coalition, the Big Tent coalition, America First stuff. The stuff on my flyer, that's common sense stuff. That is what a MAGA Republican is. And it's far more appealing, and that's why President Trump does so well with non-traditional Republican voters. This country's at war. I was a history teacher. We're not at war overseas right now. We're at war domestically. We have a radical Marxist Democratic Party. I mean, they're not even Democrats anymore. They're radical leftists, and they are trying to tear this country down. And one of the reasons I got involved in politics in the first place, because I was fed up with, I said, you know, the Republican Party, we have a lot of these Republicans, they're telling us, they're going to fight for us, they're going to defend us, they're going to stop this. And then every day we're feeling disappointed. They're telling us you got to settle for field goals, but the other side's kicking touchdowns, okay? Eventually the game's over. I'm tired of settling. The people are tired of settling. When we're having trouble paying our bills at Walmart and all these things, that's because we're being told to settle. We don't have time for that. We can't elect people who are going to tell their constituents, their voters, I'm sorry, but this is the best deal I can do. Because I've never heard Nancy Pelosi go to her voters and say, you got to take this deal, it's the best I can do for you. She went and she would fight, she would shut down the government to get every single thing she wanted. And her voters would love that. And here we are, we have Republicans tell us, this is the best deal we can do. And our deals are always like, well, what did we even get in it?
Right.
I will say right out, I would have voted against the debt ceiling bill. I would have voted against the continuing resolution yesterday. Every single time, because it's not the best we can do. It's not the best we can do. Nancy Pelosi led the longest shutdown in our country's history. The media cheered her on. She got everything she wanted. And here we are, Republicans. We elected Republicans to take the House in 2022 because they promised us border security. They promised that they'd cut spending. Instead, we signed a debt ceiling deal that has uncapped spending for 2 years.
Come on.
And we were told to be happy with that.
Right. Liars.
We said 65% in the recent poll said that they would support a government shutdown if it meant closing the border and cutting spending. And then we were told we have to do a continuing resolution because we can't shut down the government. No, that's not the best we can do.
Stop their paycheck.
We have a government that's being weaponized against, right now it's conservatives, but I tell people, you know, I tell independents, I tell Democrats, you know, today you're on the right side, you're on their team, but you're one different opinion away. And a lot of people that are on the left and even independents figure this out really quick the hard way. The second you have an independent thought, you're no longer on their team. I would not vote any more funding for the FBI, for the letter agencies, until radical change is done. They are cleaned house and people are held accountable. And I'm not just talking about being held accountable on hearings, on television, because that means nothing to me. That's not accountability, that's show. I want pensions taken away. I want people charged. I'm not going to give any more money for foreign wars and proxy wars. We spent 20 years in the Middle East and we watched it disappear in a matter of hours. And people at home are struggling to pay our bills. Our infrastructure is crumbling. Our water, water's been something, we haven't built water storage in decades. That's not a California issue. This is a national security issue. Right. I'm not going to spend any more money on foreign wars because the American people deserve, it's their tax dollars, it should be spent on them. When President Trump carries out the largest deportation in history, I'm going to stand behind it. I'm not going to do a pathway to citizenship. I'm not going to fight for amnesty because the price of amnesty is $4 trillion. It's going to overwhelm our hospitals. It's going to overwhelm our schools. It's going to overwhelm our critical infrastructure. I'm going to dissolve the D.C. Circuit Court because right now the D.C. Circuit Court is a show court. It's being used to prosecute people that the regime doesn't like. You're being denied due process. They're being denied fair trials. We have to take care of our veterans. Active duty servicemen should not pay a dime in federal income taxes. And combat veterans up to the 24th percentile should not have to pay federal income taxes. I want to exempt, we talk about raising wages and doing all this stuff. They want to focus on the minimum wage. You see what's happening in California. $20 now, and people are Pizza Hut just laid off all their delivery drivers. What I want to do, if you're a small business and you got 40 or less employees, you're not going to pay federal payroll taxes, and you're not going to pay taxes on the profits. But in order to do that, you have to invest in raising your employees' salaries and reinvest in your business. I want to double the current child tax credit. And I want to add an additional tax credit for married couples who file jointly with children. Because I taught in schools, and we have to keep families together. It's no secret that the decline in everything that's going on with our nation coincides with the decline of the two-parent household. I'm sorry, it was so hard for me to get in touch with anybody. I'm never going to vote for a central bank digital currency. The government is too involved in lives. I will never vote for an NDAA if FISA Section 702 is in there because the government, they're going to tell you it's for, they cannot name one terrorist plot they've solved under that thing. What they've done is abuse it to spy on Americans.
Right. Truth.
I'm going to deny federal funding to states like California who want to push critical race theory and who don't want to do school choice. I was a teacher. School choice is the best thing we can do for everybody. The kids I taught, we were failing them. And the best way to get them out of their situation was by giving them a great education. And we were patting ourselves on the back for 98% graduation rates when I knew my kids couldn't even write me a paragraph. You know, I don't owe anyone anything. Listen, I'm not funded by big money. The big donors, they don't take my calls. They're not going to give me anything. I'm doing this for us. I'm doing this, you know, I've been telling people, my name's going on the ballot. But this is for all of us because we have to show them that putting America first is what matters. It is the job of every elected official. It's not a Democrat or Republican issue. When you run and serve in public service, your job is to put America first. The people who elected you, it's their tax dollars you're spending. So I look forward to, you know, I believe that's what sets me apart. I'm not going there to maintain the status quo. We need more disruptors in Congress, because unfortunately everybody's getting rich on the status quo. And we want to say we don't want disruptors. We need more disruptors, because disruptors are going to get the job done. And I'm not going to go there and shut up. And I don't care. My priority isn't getting reelected, because I believe if I actually deliver on the things I'm talking to you about today, the voters are going to vote for me no matter what CNN says about me. And too many Republicans forget that. So thank you. You know, God bless America, and thanks for having me.
Amen.